Hey guys, part 3 of my Zvezda 737-800 build. So now it's the exciting part. We're going to get this thing painted. So we're going to paint the beautiful American Airlines, the old livery, the polished aluminum with the gray. So yeah, let's go ahead and get started. Hey guys, so let's get going with my favorite part, which is the painting. So since last week I did rescribe and tidy this up where we sanded. Lessons learned, I'm learning a lot with this model, and my tip would be to the sides to rescribe before you put them together, because you got a flat surface and it's going to be easy to do. Because it's round, it was moving all over the place, and it was really hard to rescribe all these side parts, get it straight. I think next time I'll definitely do the sides, and once it's together, then just do the top and the bottom at the end. But yeah, looking good. So we're ready to go. So we've got the main part, and as you guys know from last week, sorry, if you saw, it's a perfect fit. So great job, Zvezda. So it fits absolutely perfectly, the wing section. So we'll paint this separately. There's no filler or anything will be needed, and it'll just fit perfect. So we've got the stabilizers, we've got the wing section, and we've got the fuselage. So what we're going to do first is we're going to prime. That gives a really good idea, see how we're looking at the seams and the windows, if we need any more work or not. And I always prime in black, and Mr. Surfacer 1500 is my go-to. Love this stuff, get free tons of it. So mix it 50-50 with lacquer thinner, and I like to use right now rapid thinner because it dries almost instantly. It's really, really fast. Mr. Coloring Self-Leveling thinner is on the opposite spectrum. It self-levels, so it takes a little bit longer. Both great thinners, lacquer thinners, but I'm going to use the rapid thinner for today. So I'm going to go ahead and get the airbrush out and spray this all again with the 1500 black, and then we'll come back and we'll see how we're looking. All right, so primer's down. I think I just need a little bit of work there. Other than that, it looks really good on the wing part, and to the naked eye at least, there is zero seam line down here, which is fantastic, but there is some cleanup work needed. The windows look pretty good. It just needs a little bit sanding down, and around the front here, again, I'm not sure if you can see on the camera, but it's lots of scratches and stuff. So in fact, we're going for a metal finish. We need to make sure this is perfect. So other than that, I think it just needs a little bit of a clean up, little buffing, get some of these scratches out the front here, and just re-along the windows, I think, just where I scribed it. But other than that, looking really good. I'm happy. Zero seam line across the top, looking very smooth, and yeah, really cool. So I'm going to go ahead and take my buffer out and get rid of some of these scratches, reapply the primer, and I'll be right back. Alright, so I'm glad I took a few extra minutes and steps and sanded it back a little bit and fixed some scratches and sprayed it again. It looks a lot better. Definitely worth, extra hours of work or whatever. So looking really nice and black. It's kind of looking like the Air New Zealand scheme, but now we're going to do some pre-shading. Now all the airline modelers in the room are probably going to gasp, because I'm going to weather this and do it like I do with my tanks or my aircraft, my military aircraft, and I want to make this thing worn. So add pre-shading. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take my Game Air. This is a white, dead white 72701. You can use any white, I guess. I do like the Vallejo Game Air, or the well, this one in particular, because it's kind of thick. And be wary though, if you're using lacquer paints, make sure you use a different airbrush. It'll clean it out really well, because it just gum up. It doesn't like any kind of lacquer thinners or any kind of alcohol or anything like that, or IPA. Just water only for cleaning this guy, or a proper like Vallejo airbrush cleaner. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some in the airbrush. You see me do it a million times, guys on the channel. And I'm just going to spray inside all the middle of the panels with some white, real messy, and it'll really prick out some differences and stuff. So I'm going to do that in spray booth right now. I'm not going to show you because I've done it so many videos in the past. I think my latest one's the SU-33. I can't remember which part it was, maybe about part 10 possibly, but the one where I did the priming and the pre-shading, I went into great detail and filmed it in the air booth and in the spray booth. So I'm going to go ahead and spray it white, and I'll bring it back and I kind of show you what I did. Okay, so we're done. So, well, done with the pre-shading. You see what I did? I just basically sprayed inside the panel lines and just kind of messy, whatever, just kind of break it up, and especially on the gray areas, which would be the tail and the wings. Looking good. And what I did too was I looked on Google some images for the wheel bay, main gear bay and nose wheel bay, and it looks like a zinc chromate kind of color. So I just dusted on some yellow green XF4, which is like the go-to kind of mustardy zinc chromate kind of color. I don't know if it's totally right or not, but that's from the images I saw. That's what it looked like. So the old bits of foam I have from like buying aftermarket parts, these work great just to kind of stuff in and block it out. So when I get that in a minute, what I'll do is I'll put all this in the holes and it'll basically protect it. So when I spray on the other color, that zinc chromate will remain behind. So one thing I like to do, which I've really got into the last kind of 6 months, is kind of really sanding between like paint layers. I think it makes a huge difference. This is pretty smooth, but I'm taking an old sanding sponge and I'm just literally just running it over. Get really high spots, and there's really any grit to this. It's just a very smooth polishing sponge. It's just going to remove any kind of bumps. Again, this is a really smooth paint. There's nothing really going on here, but. And another thing too is, you see the windows, you don't really see the windows either, so that kind of worked out pretty good, I think, in the end. And same thing with the wings. Quick rub over. Especially inside these winglets, I think. Any kind of, where it kind of 90-degree angles like that, that's where the paint kind of swirls from the airbrush. You can get a build-up. But I can just feel it right now, my finger just feels super smooth. A little bit more on the tail. Again, just using my finger, just to feel around. And there we go, like that. So it just gets nice and smooth, so you're ready for your next stage of paint. So just a basic sanding sponge. This is a Flory Models blue one. Again, this is really old, there's barely any grit to it, but it just works out good just to get that, just to smooth out the paint, just to polish it basically. All right, so next step I think I'm gonna do is paint the grays. So the gray's gonna be all the wings, this kind of bulge right here where the wing root, I guess, the tail, the stabilizers, and a little bit on the front here, and the nose. But the nose is going to be easy to paint. The way it's kind of shaped, you have that last, I think, to tape it up, and then the very last thing we'll do is we'll paint that separately at the end, the nose. So we'll do the tail, this kind of guy around here, stabilizing the wings in the gray, which, looking at the picture, it looks like the gray on the tail and stuff matches the Boeing gray, which is the, I talked about last episode, but H338 light gray is a really good match for Boeing gray. If not, Model Master Canadian Voodoo Grey, if you get hold of that, it's discontinued, but that's a perfect match. This isn't that far off. I mean, so this is going to be fine. We're going to weather it and stuff anyway. So again, hold it to the camera so you can see it, 338, which is also FS 36495. So yeah, this is a Boeing grey color. So I'm going to nice and thin coats. I'm going to spray this on, so we still get that pre-shading coming underneath it. Obviously, I'm going to mask up these areas of the foam first. All right, cool. So let me take care of that, and I'll come right back. All right, so let me kind of show you where I'm at. So yesterday I sprayed the gray, as we talked about, the aqueous. It does take a while for it to kind of dry, so I did leave it overnight. Even rapid thinner, you don't want to rush this stuff because it can go a little bit crazy. So just let it fully dry and let it dry overnight. And I forgot about to paint the bottom gray too for my scheme. So all this is going to be polished metal. So gray at the bottom and the tail, and obviously the wings and the stabilizers and stuff. So painted the gray, no problem at all. Just masked it up right now, which took a while to get it all masked up, and painted the leading edges with silver, aluminum 71062 Model Air. This is great for hand painting, but obviously I airbrushed it. I could have used my kind of metallizers, but I want some tonal variation from the actual fuselage, so that's why I went with this guy. Just give it a little bit different kind of hue and shade and stuff. So I couldn't figure out exactly where the leading edges were, like what to paint, so I looked at many pictures, looked at the instructions, and in the end, I'm not sure if it's right or not, but I painted the whole front, the whole flat basically at the front, which I think is right. So anyway, so aluminum was I painted that. So now the wings, I'm seeing a little bit of mark here, but the wings are basically done now, and stabilizers, so they can be clear coated. So they can be clear coated with LP9, which is my go-to gloss clear. Tamiya LP9, which is a lacquer. So I'm going to clear coat these guys. I'm probably, you know what, I'm going to clear coat the tail and the grey at the bottom too, just to seal the paint in. So we'll clear coat that, we'll leave it for a few hours, and then I need to mask up all the grey, and then we'll get ready for painting all this with the bare metal polished aluminum. Okay, so masked it all up, as you can see. So along the bottom, around the kind of where the wing goes in, the front here, I think it needs definitely a small touch up, I think, on the grey, and the tail. And I just had to custom cut some stuff back here. On this side, the doors are gonna be grey, so mask that up too. So quite a lot of masking on here. On the rest of this is gonna be that shiny bare metal kind of look. So I looked at different things. I got AS12, a ground count from Tamiya, a bare metal, but I think it needs to be shinier. So I'm not sure what to go with this, so I got a couple of things. So I got AK Extreme Metals, I got polished aluminum I was going to go with. But first of all, I think I'm going to try chrome and see how it turns out. Now I don't have the black gloss underneath because I tried to do the pre-shading, so we're going to see how this goes. So I'm going to gingerly put some of this down and see how it goes, and if not, we might have to come back with a polished aluminum, which would be more forgiving. But I think it just has that really kind of chromey, kind of very sparkly look to it. So yeah, so I think I'll go with this. So it's all masked up, like I said, ready to go. So carefully, I'm not sure even how I'm gonna, I guess I have to put it like this to dry, maybe. That works. Alright, so masked up, I'm gonna very gently and gingerly mist on some of this chrome, see how we're looking, and it's perfectly shiny, smooth finish right now we're going on. So hopefully this goes down and creates that kind of like luster and metal we're looking for. So I'm gonna shoot to the spray booth, wish me luck, let's go with the chrome and see how we turn out. Alright, we're done, and I just gently placed it on top of the wings just so you get like idea of the overall look and stuff. Really kind of happy how it turned out. Looks super good. So I tried the chrome, misted it on, and it was just too light, like maybe like white, if that's a good word. So I wanted something a little bit darker, and surprisingly enough, this is polished aluminum, so I used a polished aluminum AK, which was 481. So I put down probably 3 coats, really low air pressure, just mist it on, don't hose it, is the key with this guy. So just mist on a nice thin layer, let it dry for like an hour, came back and did another one. And I saw a lot of the pre-shading through it, it looked really kind of cool actually, but I thought maybe that was a little bit too much. So I did one light final coat and it looked perfect. You can see a little bit of the pre-shading coming through, but sparkling as you can see. But the grey and everything is looking really good. I'm really happy how it turned out. The other thing is, wish, you know, a little bit more grey down here on the doors and stuff, but we're gonna have decals for those. It's a bit grimier at the bottom. So you got the grey at the bottom, and yeah, and also you got the, looking good. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna let this literally leave it for like a day or two, maybe, you know, maybe 2 days. It's enamel based, but it dries pretty quick. But there's no need to rush this. I don't have the decals yet, so I'm just gonna let it sit for a couple of days, just do its thing, and then I've got some metallizer sealer from Monomaster. Now this is discontinued, but this is pretty good stuff. So I'm just going to literally just spray this on over this and as my clear coat, and hopefully it'll keep some of that metal kind of tones to it before we put the decals on. But I think once once down the side we've got the red, white and blue stripes and the windows and all the rest of it, I think it's going to look really good on the markings and stuff. So I'm really happy at this. It went down pretty much perfectly, and seamless and everything else. So yeah, it's going to look awesome, I think. So I'm really happy. Turned out perfectly. So again, I'm not going to rush it. Just let it sit for a couple of days and turn my attention to work on the engines and the gear and the other parts, and then we'll bring it all together once I get the decals in the mail from Russia. Cool. All right, thanks for watching this one. As always, I super appreciate it. Hope you have a great week, and I'll see you next time.